So guys, Dele Farotimi have come out to tackle or talk about the current issues we have in Nigeria, the issue like El-Rufai issue, P2B, Fubara and the Wike, a lot of issues happening now. So he touched all of them and he exposed some bitter truths in this video about to watch. I think actually interesting video, though it's a long video, but watch to the end and follow through what he was saying and you will get where he was driving at and his points of everything he's saying. Just take a look at that video, guys. I'll be with you guys in a minute.
Let's talk about the week that was. It wasn't until yesterday that I came across a couple of videos actually, that gave me hope, had me excited, exhilarated. It was by a young lady. I think she posted under the handle, talk to Rai. I love to talk to Rai. Rai has sense. Rai is a repudiation of all the stereotypes that have been floating around about who the Nigerian youth is, how they're so detached from what is going on and they are not connected to the issue. Rai should be sufficient to silence you all. And that is why they would love to silence Rai, right? They would love to silence her. That's why they panicked and started phoning her. Rai, I don't know if you will ever get to see this, but know this. I got your back. And you know something else? 1,000, did I say 1,000? Millions of Nigerian youth have your back. You understand? We have your back. Oh no, I'm not a youth, don't worry. But if you are an example of what's going on in your generation, I'm excited. It tells me it's not been for nothing. It tells me talk is not cheap. It tells me we've got thinking, questioning youth. People who are asking questions, global citizens who are not going to allow for the madness that has pervaded Nigeria like it's normal. And that's why they're panicked. But I assure you, just like Nigerians had my back, we have your back. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing. And there are many more of you, and they need to echo your voice. Because it is in echoing your voice that they would have to call many more. Imagine if they were calling 1,000 Rais, just 1,000 Rais of Rai's age. Let them have to be calling those ones. Just imagine that. One Rai, and they're scared. What did she say? She didn't even abuse the daughters. What did she say? So just imagine that. That is the power that you have when you open your mouth to talk. So let somebody talk to Rai, and there should be more Rais. The other thing that happened in the week that was is Natasha, Akpabio, and us. That was some week in that episode. Natasha apparently remembered that she's a member of the Interparliamentarian, whatever. So there we were in the United Nations. If we are not hanging in the tube station for children missing out of school, we're right there in the UN being reported for the sexual deprivations of our winners. Truth of the matter is, just take it as a window into what is going on in their corridor. It's still their war, ultimately, but where are the collateral damage in the wars that they have decided to fight? So that we can run through a lot more of the things that happened in the week that was and try and make sense of them if we can't completely unpack them. The Midget of Kaduna is summoning you to come and join him in his political misadventures. I think God beg on her. That man is not worthy of your time. What kind of power would you be seeking that will make you find deodorants for skunks? Exactly what is it about the Midget of Kaduna that will make you think is somebody you desire to have any form of association with? How? What is it about his record? Important. Anyway, until then, let's see those who will be stupid enough to go and team up with such an odious character. Oh, and yes, the younger thoughts. Apparently, Muslim ticket does not automatically conjure food. And now, Oga Shetima don't turn with himself. What does he do these days? Okay, he renovates the already renovated or brand new palace of the vice president, but she is the one running the hunger tour in northern Nigeria. What does it tell you? Nothing, save the fact that poverty has been fully weaponized to the extent where the people who used to bring food for the rest of Nigeria are the ones who are getting cooked food shared in everything. Look, it is for the leaders of Arewa to open their eyes and decide exactly what the hunger tour says to them. And yes, about BJ, the patron saint of Nigerian hypocrites. Baba, of course, has a lot to say about the current occupant of the office. The only thing is, I wish Baba had done better. Yeah, he did better compared to these ones, but he could have set the standard. He could have set the guardrails. He could have defined what kind of democracy we were coming into. But then the opportunity is lost. So the lessons he could have delivered succinctly have become punchlines in the mouth of those who deride him because of his own past record. But the truth is not devalued even in the mouth of a liar. They should listen to Obasanjo if they're serious about it, but then they are not serious about doing anything. So there's only very little that one can say about those ones, and the simple simpletons. Your enemy's enemy is not your friend. When Wike and Fubara were busy stealing the presidential election at real cost in lives and properties, where were you? If they're quarreling today, is it a quarrel over substance, over ideology? Openly, we know already that the quarrel is about sharing the resources of the rivers people. I do not take side in squabbles amongst thieves. It is not my thing. So that was the week that was. It's 10 o'clock now. And we should begin to deal with the week that is and the future that may or may never come. This week, I'd like us to speak to the subject, a few good men. And until yesterday morning, the original title that I gave to the thought that is leading to today's sermon was Sustaining Evil. And all of these are coming from a place where I am asking myself, how did we get to where we are, where hope would appear to have been vaporized, and it would appear that evil wins constantly? This thought has been with me for some time, particularly since Nigeria managed to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in February 2023. When I saw the way those who should be opposed to the evil became complicit in the evil, to the point where those of us who dared to speak contrary to what societal Praetorian guards of morality had determined was the right path for Nigeria, I became a little worried about how easy it had become to sustain evil in Nigeria. So I was going to speak today, and I'm finding that there is a common thread that is running through everything I have spoken to in recent times. And I believe that this is actually a continuation of thoughts that have started for some time now. And you'll get me in a few minutes. So I was going to title today's talk, Sustaining Evil, because that would appear to be the only thing that has been successfully sustained in my lifetime in Nigeria. I have become aware of the existential evil with which we live since I was 16. I'm going to be 57 my next birthday, so it would appear to be that there is no break to this cycle of evil. It would appear to be self-perpetrating and completely impervious to attempt at changing it. That in my lifetime, I've watched it claimed lives every time an attempt had been made to change the reality and to take us to a better place. I watched it happen as a teenager in 1983 when the people's vote counted for nothing. I saw the military came in 1984, a reaction to what had taken place in 1983. I watched the people raise their hopes, invest their energies, and then they voted in 1993, believing that their voices would count for something, and they invested their hopes in a man, and their hopes were dashed. And I watched that cycle. That's what everybody knows today as a democracy, but one that has delivered nothing of substance to the people. So a cycle of despair would appear to be the only thing that is certain in Nigeria. Evil appears to have become self-sustaining, and I began to despair myself in spite of the fact that I have tried to be the one offering hope to those who have become hopeless about our situation. So I started looking at why is it that evil appears to constantly win? 2023, Yakubu told all of us that we should have hope, and a lot of us reconnected with the electoral process. We got other people to become connected to that system. We fought pitched battles with secessionist voices who had genuine grievances and still have genuine grievances. We argued that they could believe in the electoral system and invest their hope in candidates who would reflect their electoral desires. We believed that if the electoral system were to find its integrity, citizenship would emerge out of the capacity of the citizens, of the victims, to effect changes in leadership at election times. And it was this fervor that took us into the 2023 election, and Nigeria snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. And it became easier to despair than to hope. And I was in this mindset, looking at the totality of our situation by the time I was going into my Ikpebi at Ekiti. And I spent 21 days in Ekiti, still thinking through these things. Evil appears so easy to sustain in Nigeria. And it's easier to simply despair when you look at our situation. So I started asking myself, one, what has happened to us as a people? Edmund Burke's words came to me on Friday evening. And by yesterday morning, the more I mulled these words, the more it appeared to me that my title should not be sustaining evil. It should actually be a few good men. What is it that Edmund Burke said? He said the only thing necessary for evil to triumph in the world is that good men do nothing. I believe Edmund Burke said this in 1795 or thereabout. But the truth is an eternal reality. It changeth not. The Yoruba people had no knowledge. My ancestors had no knowledge of some pale skin called Edmund Burke. But there is a Yoruba proverb that says, and I quote, "Ìlú tí kò sí òfin, ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ò sí níbẹ̀." When you translate, what it says is, where there are no laws, there can be no crime. But that is antithetical to any Yoruba philosophy of life. The Yoruba cannot conceive of a place without laws. So they were not speaking of a place without laws. They were speaking of a place where the law does not rule. They were saying that where the law does not rule, perversions reign supreme. That is what the Yoruba proverb was saying. But what is it about the laws not ruling and about the sustenance of evil and then a few good men? I will explain myself. If you took Edmund Burke's words, where he said that it's that for evil to triumph, good men must do nothing. So all we really need in Nigeria, I feel good men. A few good men. A lot of times I find myself completely embarrassed by the reception I get either online when I run into those who will be effusive in their praises, just as I have people who are very effusive in their abuses. But those who are effusive in their praises will come to me and be like, if we have only 50 of you, if we have 10 of you, if every state has one of you, and I'm looking at these people and I'm saying to myself, you guys are actually bringing home the lesson that Christ was teaching when he asked his disciple, why do you call me good? I know as a fact, I guarantee you that I am not a saint. I am nobody's moral agent. I am not looking to be anybody's pastor. All I do at any point in time is I tell the truth that I see in my space. I have rarely ever been found at the head of any protest. I have never advocated that anybody bear arms. And let's be clear, I'm not a peaceful man. My insistence on non-violence is not a function of me being essentially peaceful. It's because I am weak. I don't have any guns. I got no guns. So I cannot confront those who are practitioners of violence and have a monopoly of arms. So I am weak. The only thing I can do is speak truth in the face of those who are carrying the guns and let it be clear to them by sheer force of my own moral strength. I'm not afraid of your guns, and I will speak to the truth of what I see. So the absence of fear for those who are bearing arms, the absence of fears for the consequence of the truth that is spoken, those are the only reasons why you have separated someone like me and you'll be pointing me out. But there are myriads of you who have equally lost the fear of the same things that I have, but you are merely not applying yourself in the direction that is beneficial to all. So I'm saying to you, what is it that Nigeria really needs for Nigeria to change? It just requires a few good men. Imagine there is a theory in sociology, in the study of society, they've come to the knowledge of one reality. There is what they call the theory of non-collapse. This morning I shared an essay I wrote, I believe about 3-4 years ago, where I said everything stinks. I shared it and I said this is today's scripture. And what was it I was trying to point at? In Everything Stinks, I described how you become acculturated to madness the longer you tolerate the madness. And the point I am making is this. If we have not become so acculturated to madness to the point where our societal norms have collapsed, where we have now become accepting of even the worst of anomalies, and we have normalized abnormalities, become acculturated to evil to the point where we are barely ever shocked by what is done to us or to our fellow victims. What is it about us that has us accepting of evil to the point where you have over 20 churches and mosques, but not one, a single one of them would dare to speak to the common good based on truth? How many pastors have spoken the way Raya spoke? Did she lie? If more people would speak as Raya has spoken, how many people can they phone to be threatening? How many people? Exactly how many people can they threaten? How many? It is when we are collectively silent that we isolate those whose voices we should be echoing and then render them as outliers. That gets to be picked off by a self-sustaining system reinforced by our silences. Why are we accepting of evil? Why? Exactly what is it? So when they talk about us having 200 million Nigerians, for instance, even accepting of the fact that weaponized ignorance and weaponized poverty has overtaken Nigeria for generations now, at least 2 generations, have been afflicted by deliberately systemic weapons of ignorance and poverty. The system says it is capitalist, but there is no capital for anyone looking to do business. The infrastructure for entrepreneurs are simply not there. Our banks declare fantastic profit in an economy where they are not lending. So the question is, where are the feel-good men in the banking sector? Where are the feel-good men amongst the clergy? Where are the feel-good men in the universities and polytechnics? Where are the feel-good men in the trades? You look around, and you're in the tube in London, and right there on the wall, decorating one of the many banners you see in the underground. Help, children missing from school. Nigerian children missing from school. Where are the feel-good men speaking to this evil? Our senators, to even call them our, to own them, is self-libeling and self-denigrating. The senators and House of Reps members sat in Abuja, the governors, all those who pretend to rule the people, how can they possibly find any comfort in the knowledge that over 18 million children under the ages of 14, from ages 4.5 or 5 to 14, 18.3 million are out there walking the streets without classrooms, and yet everybody is silent? A young lady dared to complain, and she was there weeping about the reality staring her in the face in Nigeria. Unless she's going to start doing runs or have some sugar daddy somewhere or do something else other than whatever she's being paid, she can't live on what she's getting even from the government itself. She has to subsidize the government to serve Nigeria. And the only response Nigeria has to that is for people to be phoning her, to threaten her, and that's okay. How many churches are going to protest against that kind of thing this morning? How many mosques have had something to say about that and would have something to say about that? Where are the few good men and women in this society of ours? Where are they? We got churches and mosques everywhere, and yet evil has become so prevalent. Exactly where? What is the purpose of your religiosities if you are by your silence complicit in the evil? Let's try and understand something. When you have a society that has come to illustrate normative collapse as our own has apparently done, it would take a few good men and women, people of good conscience, deliberately and intentionally speaking out against these evils for them to ever be reversed. If you continue to keep quiet in the face of these existential evils, to the point where the only thing that issues forth from what should be the last refuge of the common man are these obscenities. You call yourself an SAN, you are a retired jurist, and you are seeing this evil, and you are quiet, either because you profit from it or because you are complicit in it. Do you know what judicial anarchy does to a society? When the people lose confidence in the ability of the judiciary to give them justice, do you know? Look at Rivers State. Beyond the fact that it's a squabble of thieves, do you see what has been done to the judiciary in the pursuit of narrow interests? Are you looking? Do you understand the long-term consequences of the damages that have been done to the institutions? Do you guys even understand the fact that once men are dead and long gone, what they did in the name of institutions become part of that institution? What happens to the doctrine of stare decisis in the midst of this judicial anarchy? Where are the feel-good men in the judiciary? What has happened to them? The shameful religious institutions, particularly the Pentarascals. What has happened to you? What has become of you? Exactly what has become of you? How can a country go to the dogs like this and you are still speaking in the name of Christ? Mammon has become your God. You don't speak to the substance of what the people are dealing with, to the point where a young lady dared to speak to her pain, verifiable pain, and she could be victimized in spite of all of you. Shame on you. Where are the few good men? That a man is good does not mean he's free of sin. It simply means that he abides by the truth. Where are you? What has happened to you? How is it possible that today we can speak to finding more good men in the police than in the judiciary? Think about that. 99 out of 100 judges do not need to be corrupt for the judiciary to be corrupt. All it takes are just 5 corrupt judges out of 100. Just 5. And corruption is not necessarily about taking money. It's simply about not doing justice, whether because of your prejudices or because of your ignorance. So, where are the few good men? Why is it that, when a society progresses to the point where a man feels safer to label himself insane on account of what he would have to say, but that the society would rather not accept? It's not a function of him saying the wrong things, but because that truth might be more palatable to the hearer if they believe that the speaker is insane. What kind of society have we built? Exactly what kind of society? So, I have come around this morning essentially to demand of you, stop looking for Voltrons, because it's not Voltrons that it will take to change our circumstances. Just be one of the few good men. Speak to the truth of the things you see. Stop allowing yourself to be blinded by ethno-religious idiocies. Just speak. Speak to the truth. The society is imploding because of the lies that we have accommodated. The society is collapsing. We actually illustrate non-collapse. Google it when we're done. Take it out. Our society is imploding. And this should not be so. Yorubas will say, Okporo Kagbon. Not about plenty talk. It's about me wanting to awaken you this morning to the need for you to become one of the few good men and women who have to catalyze the changes that Nigeria requires if it's not to implode. But as I've been saying for some time, if you do not know purpose, abuse becomes inevitable. All this atotoarere, the dogonturenchi, the constant talk, all day, all week, all night, the purpose to which I have given my life is to awaken you to the need to become citizens. I have no guns, and as I've explained to you, I'm not a peaceful man. I'm just a weak man. I have no guns, and I can't fight a man with guns, carrying guns. But I can fight him with the truth. And the truth is enough at any time. The truth is enough as a weapon, and it is sufficient as a shield. And the truth this time around is that the Nigerian state is forced to play the game of pretense. They have to pretend that we are in a democracy, and they have to pretend that we are citizens. And if we are going to have to sustain the pretense of a democracy and the illusion of citizenship, they also have to pretend to offer us those rights. So here is the one that I believe should be paramount to all of us, and it is the one that we are able to weaponize: the demand to have electoral reform. You cannot be in a democracy where your votes do not count. I am proposing that we keep 2 dates in mind. Is it 27th or 29th of May, when they have their fraudulent swearing in, and they used to call Democracy Day, that day, and the 12th of June. Either of those 2 days, definitely long before then, definitely before the end of this month, a citizens' bill for the reform of our Electoral Act would be placed before the National Assembly. Let us also have a program in place long before the 29th of May, or long before a date, where we pick a definite date on which to show our rulers that we are serious about our demand for electoral reform. Before the end of this month, a definite date will be picked and it will be communicated. Without electoral reform, any talk of an election in 2027 is delusional. You see the politicians talking about alliances. The short one, that midget, the evil one, is busy talking about SDP and calling his fellows to come and join him there. You don't count in their equation. They are not looking to empower you. They are looking to gain power so that they can perpetuate this same evil system that has been self-sustaining. But for you to be of any consequence in the equation, your votes have to count. The system and its beneficiaries have to be afraid of losing power. And the only way that happens is when your votes begin to count. So let's be clear. Any talk of 2027, forget about it. Don't listen to that illusion. We did not lose in 2023 because we did not vote. We lost because our votes did not count. When I say we, I'm not just talking about Peter Obi. I'm talking about all the different idiots who clung to his coattail to take themselves into the National Assembly, but who are today no different from them. Because if you recall, the second leg of the electoral reform that I am seeking, that we should all be seeking, aside from the part that is demanding that there should be automatic transmission from Beavers to IREM, the second leg of the electoral reform is the one that demands independent candidacy. If we had independent candidacy and we were voting for people who are reflective of our own values, who will do our will when they get into the National Assembly, we will not have this kind of monkeys that are currently monkeying around in the place and have given the name real illustration when they say a Congress of baboons. That is what we have currently, because people go into office without being known to the voters. People vote for parties most of the time without knowing the candidates. If independent candidacy is allowed, a man who does not belong to PDP, LLP, PUPUPU, or any party for that matter, but whose policies and politics align with that of the people in the location where he is looking to run, would dare to run and might very well beat the governing party simply because the people know him. These are rights of citizens. Independent candidacy was allowed in the First Republic. Why has it become an anathema 70 years later? Before the end of this month, the Citizens Bill will be introduced into the public space and one will be delivered to the National Assembly. Yes, it's largely a collection of people we would rather not deal with, but that is the process in front of us. And if our will must prevail, it will be because we queued behind it, recognizing it as being for the common good. Any talk of 2027 in the absence of electoral reform, real reforms, is a waste of time. It is the only way you'll be having the kind of silly hunger tours that you're having right now, and you'll be having the kind of drama you're having in the Lagos State House of Assembly. Your votes do not count. And they know this, and they'll prefer to keep it that way. So if you want anything to change, be prepared to struggle for it. If you're looking to avoid violence in order to change Nigeria, be prepared to make some sacrifices. It might involve having to sit at home. It might involve having to just simply wear black on the day as a collective. It might just be some tokenist measure of protest. But it is critical that the system must be aware of exactly how we feel, and the system must be aware that we are capable of uniting. It is our unity they fear above all else. If we would dare to speak as a collective, they will not dare to do the things that they do to us. It is our division that emboldens them. A few good men up and down the length of Nigeria, speaking to their own people in their own languages, speaking to those that I can't even reach if I tried my hardest. A few good men are enough to change Nigeria. And I'm not forgetting the women. So Akpabio, Natasha, and us. That is only possible because we are not citizens. The people of Kogi would have been deserving of representation if they were citizens. A few good men up and down the length of Nigeria would have prevented anyone from daring to phone Rai to be threatening her for speaking her truth. Just a few good men. Don't allow yourself to be distracted in the coming week. Or rather, we're already in the week. Here is the part where I'm saying bye-bye to you. I hope to see you again next week. Oh, and yes, as part of the funeral of Sequoias of Papa Adebanjo, and in my new role as the National Organizing Secretary of Afenifere, we're organizing a national symposium for what would have been his 97th birthday, which is on the 10th of April. We'll be holding here in Lagos. We'll be offering further information on this program during the course of this week. It is my hope that as many of you as are able to attend will be present at that function. Don't let me let the cat out of the bag just yet, but just take it that we were already planning this symposium before Baba passed on. And the decision was taken that there is nothing that would be more pleasing to Baba than for us to honor him on what would have been his 97th birthday by going ahead with that symposium. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you. You can expect to get all the due notifications very soon. See you soon, and definitely see you by next Sunday. Hopefully by then I would have circulated copies of the Citizens Bill so that you would have had the opportunity to go through it yourselves. So enjoy the rest of the week, and God bless you.
So guys, I believe for that video, like I said, he touched every area that is happening, because what is trending in Nigeria for like last week and this week is El-Rufai defecting to SDP. We put to be join him, River State and the Wahala with Fubara and Wike, and also this lady copper that came out to expose or call terrible government, and then that she was receiving threats, which P2B Sobori and others read that command and fatally interfered in the case, and I think her life is more safer now because those people have intervened. Like I say, those people are the freedom fighters, whereas Dele Farotimi is the truth exposer. Like he always come out to say the truth. Imagine he have said truth upon truth. Imagine, okay, this person now, this Dele Farotimi, have been arrested before. Why? For saying the truth, because he exposed Afabawala and some other judges and some other politicians for their illegal and how they are helping to destroy our judiciary system because of corruption. Because that's what I've noticed that they are doing. Because how will he pay? Afabawala paid a big amount of money so that the judge will judge in favor of his clients. You see that it's no longer a judgment or a justice. It's not as if who has bigger money should be the money, so that we will judge the case in his favor, which does not signify justice. So this man, Dele Farotimi, has proven to be a man that always come out to say the truth, and countless times he have come out to air the truth. Countless times, and he made a lot of points in this video that he said now about El-Rufai, P2B, and even the fate of Nigeria. Dele Farotimi have exposed so many things in Nigeria. He has talked about the fate of Nigeria, the hope of Nigeria, why Nigeria is so corrupt, everything he has said. If you can take time and follow through his videos, you see that this man is a man that always come out to say the truth, no matter what. Because you know, in this country, if you say the truth, they come after. That's what they've learned. That if a man should come out and say the truth, that the government will come after the person. And it has been happening so many times, and it's affecting Nigeria because eating so deep into our system that it's very hard for us to stop or curb corruption. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Don't forget what your views. So go again, keep us stating, guys.